Silvertail is the little snake I picked up. From the day he hatched, he had 2 small horns on his head, which made him different from the other snakes. To help him feel better about himself, I took off my compression suit and smiled, saying, "Look, I've been burned too. I have scars all over, just like you." But this only turned into a topic for him when interacting with others. "Silverling's scars are disgusting." After reading those comments, I felt uneasy and had nightmares for several days. So, I decided to break our Beastman contract. With red-rimmed eyes, he said, "Don't regret it." Later, I raised other little snakes, but he became frantic, wrapping his tail around me and pleading for comfort. "Silverling, it hurts." When I first found Silvertail, he was just an egg. Soon after he hatched, he was already different from the others. The bald bumps on his head were alarming. Humans don't like reptilian beastmen, considering them cold-blooded and hard to tame, especially someone like Silvertail, whose natural deformities made him even more unappealing when he transformed into human form. Neighbors advised me to get rid of him. "He's not like the other snakes. A freak like him is a disaster. Just throw him away." But I didn't want to. Later, when I wasn't watching, other beastmen threw small stones at him, shouting, "You mutant! Those horns are gross." During that time, Silvertail was severely depressed, covered in wounds. As he grew, he felt more different from others but was unwilling to tell me what was happening. One day, I witnessed him being bullied. I stood up and protected him, scaring those beastmen away and taking him home. That was the first time I saw Silvertail cry. He clutched my hand, crying, "Silverling, I'm almost of age. Can we sign the contract now?" Of course, I wanted him. So, filled with joy, I made a pact with him, making Silvertail my exclusive Beastman. Humans and Beastmen can only sign one contract. A Beastman will accompany you forever unless the human actively breaks it. To keep Silvertail safe, I often moved. He would frequently ask me late at night, "Silverling, will you abandon me?" He seemed sensitive and cautious, full of inferiority. I patted his head and took off my compression suit in front of him. "See? I'm covered in scars too. I need to wear this every day to prevent them from getting worse." I showed him my scars, and he looked at me in disbelief before finally asking, "How did you get hurt?" "I was burned." I told him my story. My parents divorced, I had no one to care for me during childhood, my classmates bullied me, and those little devils pushed me into a fire while they watched with excitement. I thought, since I've almost died once, why should I be afraid? After I recovered, even though I survived, I carried scissors to school and became known as the crazy kid. No one wanted to play with me, but no one dared to bully me again. After hearing my story, Silvertail fell silent. He touched my scars and sighed. "We really are kindred spirits." I smiled and said, "It's all in the past. Live for yourself. And you too, having horns isn't a reason for them to hurt you. From now on, I'll protect you." From that day on, Silvertail began to walk with confidence, holding his head high. By the time he reached adulthood, his horns mysteriously vanished. He became increasingly handsome, the serpent race is naturally striking, and Silvertail's beauty was astonishing. He grew stronger, blending in with his kind, even becoming the most popular one. Neighbors began to envy me. "What a beautiful serpent beastman! Silverling, you're so lucky. I wish I could have one too." I had never seen Silvertail so happy. But he started coming home late. One day, I couldn't reach him. After countless calls, I found out he was at a bar with other snake beastmen, seemingly drunk. Just as I was about to push the door open, I heard him say, "I really regret signing the Beastman contract. You guys have no idea how ugly Silverling's scars are. They're all over. My skin isn't even intact, it doesn't compare to others. I've had nightmares about it for days." His friends laughed. "I thought you were really close to Silverling." Silvertail, lazily sitting on the couch with a wine glass, replied, "Yeah, she treats me well, but I'm getting a bit tired of it." "Tired of it?" I picked him up when he was 15, and I had been with him for 13 years, yet he summarized our bond with, "Tired of it." That day, I left awkwardly and didn't call him again, tossing and turning, thinking about it for a long time. The next day, he came home and asked, "Why didn't you make breakfast?" I often prepared breakfast before work for him, but the contract required the Beastman to take care of these duties. Silvertail had grown used to it. Maybe sensing my unusual expression, he softened his tone. "I didn't come back last night. I was just chatting with friends and drank too much. Okay, I have to go to work." I didn't say much and went straight to the studio. My coworkers saw me and laughed. "Why are you showing up with dark circles? Did your Beastman get too wild last night?" My home is also a snake Beastman. After adulthood, they need companionship, especially since Silvertail never let me get too close. Whenever I tried to approach him, he would dodge away, saying he was tired or still too young. Now it seemed he probably found my scars disgusting. I shook my head with a smile. "Nothing's wrong, I just had too many designs to finish last night." At noon, I couldn't help but ask a colleague, "Do you know how to break a Beastman contract?" Since signing with Silvertail, I hadn't looked into how to terminate it. She was surprised at first, then realization dawned on her. "You only need to actively break it by burning the blood pact he gave you, and he will no longer belong to you." She sighed again. "Silver Ling, is your Beastman too good-looking and finding another? You can swallow his blood pact, and that will bind you forever, or you could take revenge by selling his blood on the black market, so he'll never sign another contract with anyone else." What's the point? Once I let go, his future life would have nothing to do with me. I burned Silvertail's blood pact, and instantly, he found me, questioning, "Why? Isn't this what you wanted?" I asked him back, then packed his things. "You've transformed, you can now be like the other snake beastmen. Even with the past contract, with your appearance, it shouldn't be hard for you to find someone new." He stood silently at the door, not saying a word. Silvertail used to like writing in a diary. One time, while tidying up, I accidentally dropped his notebook and opened a page randomly. It read, "If I looked like the other snake beastmen, my life might be different, but unfortunately." I didn't read further and closed it. I didn't want to invade his privacy. I understood he wanted better choices but never said it out loud. I packed his things and handed them to him. "You're free. You went to find me that day, right?" His fists clenched, and his face was full of grievance. "You heard that?" I didn't deny it. They all love to talk behind my back. If I don't say anything, I'll be the odd one out. They won't like me. I've worked so hard for what I have. Do you want to destroy it?" He argued passionately, his eyes reddening with emotion. I was just saying. "Just saying?" I scoffed. "The people who bullied me also said it was just talk, yet they escalated, didn't they?" I never intended for things to unravel completely. After all, I had shared a bond with Silvertail. But he insisted on tearing down that fragile barrier. I sighed bitterly. "Then why won't you let me touch you?" Silvertail fell silent, and no more words were needed. I slammed the door closed, pushing him away as if our 13 years together had never happened. Silvertail shouted from the doorway, "Don't regret it. If you don't want me, don't think you can have another Beastman." After escaping from the fire, I had no idea how to feel. Regret. I sold the house and resigned from my job. My colleagues remarked, "Silverling, I really envy you. You can come and go as you please, leaving a high-paying job behind." Yes, I was free. No parents to tie me down. I used to have Silvertail, now it was just me. Money was merely a tool for buying happiness. I was always alone, now I was just back to the beginning. I went abroad for 6 months of further study. Occasionally, I thought of Silvertail, but I numbed myself with alcohol. Eventually, I forced myself to delete all his photos, throwing myself into work. But I still received news about him. A former colleague sent me a photo, saying, "He's become so popular. So many want him, even the richest heiress has her eye on him." I didn't reply, I focused on my own life. Until I met another snake beastman. He was chasing after other beastmen, his face bandaged and hair disheveled, looking like a street thug. For some reason, I saw a reflection of myself in him, wild and rebellious, just like when I stood up to my classmates. That day, I stopped to watch him swing a bat at someone, and he yelled at me,
"What are you looking at? Never seen a handsome guy before?"
I stayed silent. He leaned against the bat with one hand in his pocket, smirking.
"You want to sign a contract with me? Forget it. I'm not some random beast man. I'd never sign a contract with you humans."
I couldn't help but laugh at his fury.
"What's so funny? Want to get beaten up?"
He was just like I used to be. Whenever someone bullied me, I was wary of even kind passers-by. I pointed to his pants.
"Your zipper's down."
His snake-like face flushed, and he hurriedly zipped up, turning away in embarrassment.
"It's just too big. The pants can't hold it. You can't tell anyone. If word gets out, I'll come for you at night."
Later, I found out he was known as the local snake tyrant, feared by many. He had been abandoned at birth, developing a rough personality, and was often called the stray snake. After that, every time I passed his dirty territory, I'd bring him some of my homemade pastries. From initially hissing at me, he now scarfed down everything I brought. One day, I stayed late after school and saw him sleeping in a quiet alley, a stark contrast to his usual noisy self. But he had new injuries on his face. 2 days before I returned home, I bought some iodine at the pharmacy, intending to treat his wounds. However, I startled him awake, and he bit me. When he realized it was me, his eyes widened, and he quickly let go.
"What are you doing here? You're hurt.
I placed the medicine in front of him.
Put this on. You're hurt too. I have snake venom. I need to treat you quickly, or you'll die."
He said anxiously.
"It's fine. I have snake medicine at home." "Oh, you have a snake, Beastman?"
He dropped his gaze, his mouth slightly turning down. He coughed lightly.
"If you have a snake, Beastman, don't bother me. I've broken the contract."
I smiled at him. "Take care of yourself. I'm going back home. Don't waste your time with the bullies. Focus on yourself." This time, I prepared a whole suitcase of pastries for him.
"You have a good appetite. These are all for you. Stop talking nonsense. I don't love this stuff. I'm just hungry."
He huffed.
"Hungry doesn't quite capture it, does it? Since you're leaving, can you at least tell me your name?"
I asked him.
"You're leaving. You don't deserve to know my name. I won't leave you with anything to remember."
With that, he haughtily lifted his chin, grabbed the suitcase I prepared for him, and turned away. What a rebellious snake he was. After returning home, I used all my savings to open a studio. A year later, I saw Silvertail and Anna again at an auction for my design showcase. Silvertail was lying on Anna's lap, who was occasionally playing with his hair. He had dyed his hair silver and seemed very close to her. I had wanted him to lie on my lap countless times, but he had always refused, saying, "I don't like that." But now, it seemed he enjoyed it. Truly, he never liked me. Anna selected many of my jewelry designs, purchasing several sets, and even carefully picked out multiple accessories for Silvertail, spending a fortune. As the auction was about to end, Silvertail approached me. He raised his chin and coldly surveyed me. "Do you regret it? You didn't want me, but there are plenty who do. Congratulations on finding true love." I packed up my things, picking up my suitcase, slightly avoiding him. "Silverling." He grabbed my wrist, his beautiful eyes locked onto mine. "You really don't feel jealous?" He noticed the scar from the stray snake bite on my hand, frowning.
"Who bit you? Do you have another snake, Beastman?"
But in the next moment, the sound of high heels echoed, and Silvertail instantly recognized it was Anna. He quickly released my hand and stepped back, maintaining distance. Anna walked straight to him, wrapping her arm around his and leaning against him sweetly.
Tail, there you are. I've been looking for you. Yeah, just chatting with the designer.
Silvertail replied, his eyes curving slightly, looking genuinely handsome.
Oh, her name's Silverling. You both have the surname Silver.
Anna paused, examining me with a curious expression, her interest evident.
What a coincidence. Yeah, quite a coincidence.
I met her gaze, and after 15 years, seeing Anna didn't terrify me as before. I had matured a lot.
I didn't expect you to be doing so well, creating so many interesting pieces. I almost thought I had mistaken you for someone else.
Anna smiled, stepping closer.
I remember you well, Silverling.
A shiver ran down my spine. Anna was my nightmare etched into my bones. She had once bullied me relentlessly and even ignited my flames. Every scar on my body was connected to her. It wasn't until I went mad that she was scared and transferred schools, bringing me peace. I never imagined the Anna family would thrive, becoming immensely wealthy, and I never expected Silvertail's new contract would be with her. Back home, I was utterly exhausted. Organizing the entire design showcase was draining. I fell onto my bed and thankfully didn't dream. The next morning, I received a text.
Stay away, Anna is trouble. She'll come after you.
The message came with a picture of my smashed jewelry designs, scattered like trash on the ground. It was from Silvertail. But where could I run? I had nothing left. I went about my normal routine, but that evening, I was surrounded in an alley by a group of beastmen.
Are you Silverling?
The leader, a snake beastman, sneered.
Yes.
I nodded slightly.
What do you want?
As the 5 beastmen closed in on me, the snake beastman said coldly.
Someone paid for your hand.
Is it Anna? I asked, smiling.
Oh, you're quite clever. Miss Anna said you mustn't touch designs anymore.
A heavy weight settled in my heart. Anna, who had once envied my academic success, now resented my design talent even more and wanted to destroy me.
Your hands have touched Silvertail. Miss Anna won't let you live. Any last words?
Anna's possessiveness was truly something unique.
None.
I shook my head.
Nothing you want to say to Silvertail?
The snake beastman pressed.
Nothing.
I reached into my bag, preparing to pull out my beastman spray.
Really? You don't have any feelings for him?
The beastman seemed genuinely surprised.
You used to protect him.
I stared at the snake beastman before me, suddenly remembering he was one of the ringleaders who had bullied Silvertail back then.
Why are you wasting time? If you want to fight, just do it. I don't want to waste my time with you.
Just as I was about to pull out the spray, a large hand gripped my wrist tightly, pulling me behind him. I looked up in disbelief.
Stray snake?
What the hell are you doing here?
Why are you here?
The leader's aggression faded instantly as he dropped his bat. Someone paid us to take this woman's hand. The stray snake looked at me seriously and then snapped angrily.
This is your sister-in-law. She's my wife. Who dares to touch her?
I didn't expect him to spin such a tale. That night, he escorted me home. Once we arrived, he said, "Don't worry. I'll guard you at the door. Those are my little brothers, they won't touch you." I didn't respond, just stared at him. After a year apart, the stray snake seemed more mature, but he had more scars and bandages. He was no longer the way I remembered him.
What's wrong? Don't you trust me?
He said, hands in his pockets, exuding a swagger that was all too familiar.
This whole area of beastmen listens to me. Even the richest heiress wouldn't dare to touch you. Those things in your bag are like tickling for beastmen. Throw them away. I'll get you new gear another day. Thanks!
I pulled out some pastries from my bag. Thanks for saving me today. He looked down, scratching his head.
TCH, who needs your food?
In the next moment, he took all the pastries from my hands and sat at the door, guarding me. The next morning, he was still sitting there, frowning as if he had a nightmare. I draped a blanket over him, and when I looked up, I saw Silvertail standing at the elevator entrance, his face betraying anxiety.
Do you have another Beastman now?
He asked calmly, his voice full of grievance.
Are you together with Stray Snake?
So that was his name, Stray Snake. Seeing me silent, Silvertail took 2 steps forward. Silverling, you two aren't suited. Who am I suited for? I laughed in anger. My little snake, whom I had raised for 13 years, was now dating someone who had once bullied me, and he was trying to teach me about being suited to another? Silvertail clenched his fists and repeated.
In any case, you're not suited for him.
Then who am I suited for? Stray Snake's awake. His tall frame blocked me as he pulled out a bat and pointed it at Silvertail.
I warn you, as a snake Beastman, don't eat your words.
Silvertail laughed at that. What do you know? Do you have any idea how hard it was for me to be with Silverling? She said she'd never have another Beastman. She's been with me for 13 years, giving me her best. His smile was both charming and devilish, revealing how special his feelings were. So Silvertail understood everything. It explained why he could so openly discuss me behind my back and show my scars to others. He felt secure, believing that I would willingly give so much, and thus, he would never be abandoned. Dude, stop talking. If she doesn't want you, she's not coming back. Stray Snake chuckled, dismissing it casually. Keep talking, and I'll make fun of you. Silvertail scoffed.
Stray Snake, you're not funny. Have you ever seen the scars on her? If you did, you wouldn't be able to handle it. Shut up.
Stray Snake's temper flared. I pulled him back.
Why waste time with him? Silvertail, since you're doing so well, don't come looking for me. I don't want Anna to find out and get angry.
Silvertail looked at me, his eyes red. But I want to see you suffer. He broke into a grin again.
Stray Snake and I are both reptilian beastmen, we can't be domesticated. Plus, you can't sign another Beastman contract. Are you sure you want to get trapped again?
With that, Silvertail turned and walked away. I released Stray Snake's hand and quietly thanked him. Thank you. He said nothing, just watched me silently before leaving as well. Back home, I stared blankly at the couch. I could no longer sign a Beastman contract because I had burned Silvertail's blood pact. He had sued me, refusing to dissolve it, claiming I was cold toward the Beastman I had raised for 13 years. The judgment stated I could never sign another contract with a Beastman. I didn't want to raise another Beastman. The exhaustion Silvertail brought me was just like he said, reptilian beastmen are hard to train. I took a shower, made some food, finished my designs, and went to sleep. I didn't expect to be woken in the middle of the night by a call from Anna.
Silverling, you really are something. I underestimated you. Silvertail was raised by you for so long, and you can't stand to see him doing well. Are you planning to kill him?
Anna screamed.
Don't think that just because you have a Beastman backing you, I won't dare to touch you, you little bitch.
She cursed for a long time, only stopping when she ran out of steam.
Sure, let's die together if that's how it is.
I replied calmly. But Anna's tone turned cold. She must have recalled the time I charged at her with a knife, my face twisted with rage.
You're insane. You better keep your stray snake in line.
She yelled before hanging up. I got dressed and went out into the heavy rain, searching for a long time before I found Stray Snake, barely clinging to life in a corner. He was covered in injuries, with the rain washing away the blood. When he saw me, he lowered his head. Come home with me, I said, crouching down under the umbrella.
No, I'm dirty.
He protested.
Come home with me.
I repeated. He shook his head.
No, I'm a cursed snake Beastman. I'll bring misfortune if I enter your home.
Last time, come home with me. I insisted. This time, he finally raised his head and looked at me.
Okay.
I took him back to my home and carefully treated his wounds. He had many deep cuts, which must have come from his fight with Silvertail. Throughout the treatment, he frowned but never cried out in pain. You have so many injuries on your face, let me reapply the medicine. I offered. As I worked on his face, I discovered that the scars were fake. After the rain washed away the dirt, they fell away with a gentle touch.
How?
I started. I'm in the streets. If my face isn't marked, who would take me seriously? He said weakly. That night, I realized how exquisite his face was. His skin was delicate, and combined with his snake beastman genetics, it was strikingly beautiful. Especially his eyes, narrow, phoenix-like, and his lips, which were so red they looked like they could drip water. He was even more alluring and charming than Silvertail, with an added air of cockiness. I learned that the stray snake had smuggled himself back to the country. In just a year, he had organized a Beastman alliance, gathering those who were often bullied to stand up and fight back. He had become a leader among the Beastmen, helping them make money and thrive, even making the Anna family withdraw in fear. The Beastmen who visited my home to see Stray Snake said,
Our boss is amazing. He single-handedly beat up Silvertail and nearly killed him, sending him to the ICU.
We all went to watch as it happened. The boss was beating up Silvertail while shouting,
Tell him to watch his mouth.
Stray Snake stayed at my place to recover for a whole month. From applying medicine to feeding him, as he began to heal, he even started doing housework and learned how to cook. I noticed he was almost well, so I asked,
When are you going back?
Why? Are you eager for me to leave? Isn't it nice to have free labor? He scoffed. I'm the local boss now, nobody can order me around. I stayed silent, and he continued. Besides, I can't leave. I need to protect you. Who knows what Anna might do to you?
Then let me give you a Beastman accessory,
I said, pulling a piece from my drawer. His eyes lit up with surprise.
Does that mean I can stay?
Yeah, consider it my payment. As for this incident, thank you. But next time, don't be so impulsive, it's not worth getting hurt. He nodded. It's mainly because that punk was talking trash. If I didn't beat him up, I'd feel wrong. I had long stopped caring. Stray Snake went on to say that he would drive me to and from work, even bringing me lunch boxes to
prevent Anna from tampering with your food.
During that time, I did everything he suggested. Until one day, I got my period, experiencing severe cramps, curling up in discomfort. Stray Snake's face turned pale with fear. Without waiting for me to explain, he scooped me up and ran toward the hospital, saying,
Why are you bleeding this much? Are you going to die? Hold on, we'll be at the hospital soon.
Talk to me, Silverling. Don't die. With great difficulty, I managed to say, I'm fine. Don't talk anymore. Trust me, I'll find a doctor for you. He hurried toward the entrance, but just as we were about to enter, Silvertail blocked our path. Silvertail had just completed his discharge paperwork and held my hand, asking, What's wrong with Silverling?
What does it have to do with you? Get lost.
Stray Snake warned, glaring at him.
If you don't want to die, stay far away. You're the one who should get lost.
Silvertail shot back, narrowing his eyes. It's just her period. Why are you so worked up? Didn't you know about this? Then, in the next breath, he laughed. Looks like your relationship isn't that great. He pulled out a sanitary pad from his bag and handed it to me. Silverling, you need this, you're leaking. I stared at the pad in his palm, stunned. Years ago, Silvertail learned what a period was from other beastmen. He had watched me suffer on the bed, unable to comprehend.
How can it hurt this much for both beastmen and humans? You wouldn't be faking it, would you?
But later, when he saw me drenched in sweat, unable to speak from the pain, he hurried to buy me painkillers. He refused to buy the pads, saying,
I'm a male beastman. If other beastmen see this, it would be so embarrassing.
But now, he seemed to carry this around with Anna without a second thought.
I don't need your fake kindness. I'll find a doctor myself.
Stray Snake shot a furious look at Silvertail and rushed me into the examination room. The doctor glanced over and said,
You, as her beastman, didn't know she was on her period? Can you explain it to me?
Stray Snake frowned. The doctor explained the situation to him and prescribed painkillers.
Take them, and her discomfort during her period is pretty serious. After taking the medicine, she won't die, right?
Stray Snake asked again, concerned.
Will she really be okay after losing this much blood?
She'll be fine. Just make sure she drinks hot water. That night, Stray Snake stayed by my side, pouring hot water for me all night. I felt weak, unable to speak, and he stayed awake, not closing his eyes. I only started to feel better the following day. When I woke up, Stray Snake was still awake, the blood on his arm dried.
Does it still hurt?
He asked, his eyes reddened. Much better. I smiled weakly. I felt pretty awful the last few days. Do you still want hot water? I cleared my throat softly. I've had enough. Okay, the doctor said you shouldn't touch anything cold. I can't leave for the next few days. I'll take care of you. He turned away, secretly wiping away a tear. I couldn't help but laugh. Stray Snake truly didn't understand anything. He stayed with me for another month. He drove me to work in the mornings, brought me lunch, and picked me up in the evenings. When I got home, there was always a table full of dishes. He said I needed to replenish my strength after my period and even massaged my back and waist. He looked completely different from the Stray Snake I had known while he was running around abroad.
What's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that? Is my face dirty?
He asked, furrowing his brow. No, I just think you look pretty handsome, especially when you smile. Don't wear those fake scars anymore. I reached out to ruffle his hair. Thank you, Stray Snake, for all you've done during this time. His face turned red, and he quickly turned away.
Nothing to thank me for.
I thought life would continue smoothly from then on, but Anna showed up at my door. She looked a bit haggard as she stormed in uninvited, searching through my house.
Where's Silvertail? Did you hide him?
Anna glared at me, her voice sharp.
If you want to get back at me, are you letting him leave? Do you have any idea what Silvertail means to me?
I stayed silent as she grew more agitated. Emily, I warn you, he can't leave without me tearing up the contract. He's my beastman in life and death. Her furious demeanor reminded me of the first time I saw her 15 years ago, when I escaped from the fire. She screamed.
She's burned. Don't let her escape. Make her suffer more, but don't let her die.
It seemed that after all these years, Anna hadn't changed at all.
You're human, he's a beastman. If he wants to leave, you can't stop him.
I said, smirking.
He can't tear up the contract either. A beastman I don't want will never be mine again.
Anna stared at me, her lips moving.
You better mean what you say.
She turned to leave, but I blocked her path.
What do you think you're doing? Put everything back the way it was, or you're not leaving.
I smiled slightly at her. You have 10 minutes.
Huh.
Anna seemed incredulous.
Do you know who you're talking to? I can kill you easier than squashing an ant. Clean this place up.
I said again, staring her down.
Or you'll wish you hadn't come here tonight.
I wasn't afraid of Anna anymore and didn't want anything to do with her. However, she had made a mess of my home, and it was her responsibility to clean it up.
What? What do I have to lose? Unlike you, a wealthy young lady who would value a life for a life more.
I stepped closer to her. Anna flinched, but still tried to act tough.
If you dare to touch me, there are plenty of beastmen outside who will listen to me.
Just as she finished speaking, the door burst open. Standing there was none other than Stray Snake. He pointed at the beastmen he had knocked down and smirked.
You're not talking about these weaklings, are you, princess?
Anna went pale, trembling as Stray Snake watched her clean up the room. When Anna left, she was visibly shaken, still warning me.
You wait! Emily, I swear I will kill you.
I remembered how jealous she had been of my academic success, shouting,
Emily, I'll make sure you die. Once you're gone, no one will compete with me for first place.
But after all these years, I was still here, and I planned to thrive. What I said about fighting to the death was just to deceive her. I had no desire to fight Anna, she wasn't worth my life. Stray Snake brought me a basin of warm water for my feet, expertly helping me soak them.
Don't let people like her get to you. I'll protect you.
As he washed my feet, he noticed the scars on my calves. He paused, and I instinctively withdrew my feet, splashing warm water onto his face. But he grabbed my leg again.
Is this the scar Silvertail mentioned?
I nodded, calming myself.
It was Anna. She really is something else.
Stray Snake cursed angrily and turned to leave. I grasped his arm.
It's in the past. It's not over. I want her to feel the pain of being burned.
Stray Snake's fists clenched in anger, and I had never seen him like this before. He was genuinely furious.
Don't act like that. I just want to live quietly and focus on my life. Do you mind my scars?
I asked carefully.
Of course not. You didn't do anything wrong.
He replied, frowning.
Stray Snake, I can't sign a Beastman contract anymore.
I knew how he felt about me over this time, but not being able to sign meant I couldn't protect him.
I can find other Beastmen. So what? I'm not afraid of you leaving.
Stray Snake frowned, gripping my foot. If you don't want me anymore, then I'll just go back to my old life. Stray Snake truly was a rough-edged guy. I laughed.
Then you should stay.
For me, Stray Snake was a favorite. I had never felt such favoritism from anyone else. No matter how I felt about myself, his balance always tilted in my favor. Stray Snake paused in surprise, then pulled me into a hug. Does that mean I have a home?
Yes.
The good times continued for another month until Anna's search for Beastmen posts remained up for a month. On my birthday, I left work early to surprise Stray Snake, but was kidnapped by Silvertail. He ambushed me on my way home, taking me back to the first apartment we rented, tying up my hands and feet. What do you want? The room looked exactly the same as when I had first brought him home, even holding the accessories I'd bought for him piled on the balcony. I want to take you back to how things were. Silvertail leaned in close, and I could see the brokenness on his face. Emily, I can't stop thinking about you. You're all I dream about. Just treat it like I went for a walk and came back, okay?
You and Stray Snake are just playing around. I know you haven't let me go, which is why you found a snake beastman like me.
The more Silvertail spoke, the more agitated he became, while I felt nothing inside. Silvertail, we can't go back. I like Stray Snake, I said seriously.
You shouldn't be stuck in the past either. But I like you. We had 13 years together. How can you just move on? Am I really worse than him? I look better than him. That's your value system.
I interrupted him. You think being good-looking means you can have everything? Even with scars, Stray Snake is 1,000 times better than you. I won't love you anymore. My words enraged Silvertail, and he began to scale up, but soon calmed down. After a long pause, he sighed. It doesn't matter, I have a way to make you love me again. He then held me captive for 3 days, cooking the meals I used to make for him and forcefully handcuffing our hands together. That night, he held me tightly, his tail betraying his excitement. Emily, it hurts. Please hurt me again, like before. I'm willing to let you touch me, I'm just saying that. Emily, forgive me. You once said my mistakes could be forgiven. Emily, please, love me. He tried every way to win me back.
Emily, I hate Stray Snake. I hate that he's taking you from me.
Last month, I followed you two around for so long. I didn't want to see you both so happy.
You're mine. I'm only with Anna to make you jealous. Make me jealous?
I felt a chill. It sounded selfish and possessive. I ignored him, and he lost his energy, whispering in my ear.
I have a gift for you. You'll love me again.
The next day, he brought Anna back, tying her to a chair. She sat there, screaming, her mouth taped shut. MMM.
What do you want now?
I asked, exasperated, looking at Silvertail.
Revenge.
He ripped the tape off Anna's mouth, and she yelled.
You're insane. You snake Beastman. How dare you kidnap me? Do you know who I am? Slap.
Silvertail struck her face.
If you don't want to die, shut up.
Anna immediately shrank back, starting to cry.
I've been good to you. Why would you betray me? I searched for you for so long, and you treat me like this? Slap.
Another hit. Silvertail grasped her chin.
Really? You looked for me just to use me as your plaything?
He tormented Anna for a long time, leaving her gasping for breath. He walked over to me.
This is my gift for you. Do you like it? I only realized how much she's wronged you by being near her. From the start, she knew I was your Beastman. It's my fault. I was greedy for pleasure, I was cold-blooded.
Silvertail desperately apologized, claiming I was the only one who saw him as an equal, while Anna viewed him as a toy. But what good did that do me now?
I don't want you anymore.
Emily, can you give me another chance? If I kill her, I won't be able to sign a Beastman contract again, and we'll be the same. His eyes filled with tears as he knelt before me, admitting his mistakes while Anna kept cursing him. I smiled lightly. I don't need your gifts. You always overthink things. Silvertail, I don't want you, no matter what. He cried and then laughed. Fine. Then let's die together, and we'll never be apart. Silvertail went mad, destroying everything in the room and causing a fire. He held me tightly. Emily, it hurts. Please hurt me like before. The flames raged, smoke billowed. At my moment of despair, Stray Snake burst in, his face full of urgency.
You're here.
Silvertail smiled at him. But you're too late.
No way.
Stray Snake transformed and began to fight Silvertail. Their battle was fierce, and I collapsed, choking on the smoke. I vaguely saw Stray Snake running toward me, his body engulfed in flames as he wrapped me in a wet blanket and dashed out. In the final moments, I heard Stray Snake holding me, laughing.
Good, you're okay. And you? You got hurt.
It's fine. Even if I'm burned, we'll be the same. Just want you to want me. My Stray Snake had faced all this because of me. When I woke up, I was in the hospital, and Stray Snake was by my side, looking grim. I startled awake, concerned.
Are you hurt?
I'm fine. He shook his head. Just some superficial burns, nothing serious. Emily, I was so worried about you. Fool, I'm okay. I sighed. It was too dangerous. You shouldn't have come. Silvertail sent me. I looked at Stray Snake in confusion as he placed a letter in front of me.
This is a letter from Silvertail. I only received it after you fell unconscious. He told me to come.
And here's his snake heart. Stray Snake laid everything out before me. I opened the letter, finding simple words. Emily, I will owe you this lifetime. This snake heart is a gift to heal you. Stray Snake truly came to save you. He's braver than I am. I wish you happiness and hope you never meet someone like me again. I stared at the letter in silence, Stray Snake beside me. I pushed the box containing the snake heart toward Stray Snake. I don't want it, just donate it. Okay. Stray Snake took my hand. Emily, everything in the past is over. Yes, it's all over. I stayed with him for his treatment. The burns covered a significant area, and he developed an infection with a fever. After we returned from the hospital, I took care of him until he was finally back to his usual self. I learned that Anna had died in the fire, and the Anna family collapsed due to tax evasion. I looked at Stray Snake sitting beside me.
Did you do it?
Yes, he admitted calmly. I had a few Beastmen brothers watch their company closely. There were not only financial issues but also product manipulation. They were bound to collapse. As he spoke, he opened his shirt. Emily, stop stalling. Let me kiss you, tonight is our wedding night. He pushed me down, tugging at my clothes. Isn't this a bit much? I couldn't help but laugh. What's wrong with that? I've learned. Now it's time for practical experience. Besides, I have an 8-pack, isn't that to your liking? He held my hand, touching his abs. Then he leaned in and kissed me. I'm here. That night, I finally realized how fierce Beastmen could be. And that night, as Stray Snake kissed my neck, he whispered softly in my ear. I truly care for you, I wish I had found you first. But Emily, it's not too late now. Yeah, everything is not too late.